Habitat loss is the loss of an animal habitat or home to the point where it is functionally unable to support the species present. Habitat loss is due to the harvesting of natural resources for industry production or urbanization. According to wildlife and conservation statistics, 80% of the decline in biological diversity is caused by habitat destruction. The Great Wall of China is one of the biggest examples of habitat fragmentation because it divides two land structures and destroys biodiversity for animals. According to WWF or World Wildlife Fund, the net loss in global forest areas during the 1990s was about 94 million. It is estimated that in the 1990s, almost 70% of deforested areas were converted to agricultural land. Habitat loss is bad because the species that used to inhabit their homes are forced to migrate and sometimes die in the process. Furthermore, when a habitat is destroyed, the plants and animals become more likely to extinction. Many species have very specific requirements for their survival and can only be found in certain ecosystems. Habitat loss branches into three types, which are habitat fragmentation, habitat destruction, and habitat degradation. Habitat fragmentation is basically when an animal's habitat gets cut into fragments due to the construction of roads and man-made rivers or dams. Animals will find it hard to migrate and to find places to rest. Habitat destruction is the general act of destroying animals' habitat by cutting down trees and mowing fields. Lastly, habitat degradation is the disruption of the biodiversity in the ecosystem, like how humans destroy the forest that ultimately destroys the variety of species in a population. Many animals are being targeted by habitat destruction, including the Asian elephant and the sun bear. The Asian elephant is the largest terrestrial mammal in Asia, and only 5% of them exist in Sri Lanka and southern India. In the face of a wildly growing population, Asian elephants are shrinking fast. Wild elephants like these usually travel in groups, but because of habitat fragmentation, their usual migratory routes are cut by roads and agriculture. Large development projects such as roads, mines, dams, and industrial complexes have divided what was once a vast migratory plain into small isolated fragments. The confrontation between elephants and humans usually leads to death on both sides, as the elephants try to survive from their habitat being disturbed, and ivory hunting, which is also a major issue in Asia and Africa. Another example of an animal that is being targeted by habitat loss are the sun bears. The sun bear can be differentiated by other bears because the sun bear has a white patch on its chest. Sun bears are exceptional climbers and spend their time in trees. They are typically found in Southeast Asia, specifically in Bangladesh, Brunei, Cambodia, India, and Indonesia. However, their population has decreased by 30% in the last 30 years because of hunters and habitat destruction caused by the clearing of forests for plantation development and illegal logging. We can stop habitat loss by planting more trees around us to increase biodiversity amongst the ecosystem. We can also recycle whatever we can, take the burden off our natural resources. Some radicals would say to limit the natality rate or the rate at which we produce offspring. Organizations like WWF or World Wildlife Fund are fighting the cause by conserving the natural resources of these animals and working with the state agencies and landowners to help develop and implement.